Hello and welcome to Cricbuzz Live. And we all know about Akshar Patel and what happened to him. And unfortunately, Ashwin had to step in. Well, just like that, I have also stepped in now. Manish Batavia is caught in terrible traffic, and I'm here with the one and only Zaheer Khan for this edition of Cricbuzz Live. And today we are looking at the match between, obviously, the Netherlands and New Zealand. It's going to be a climactic match. Welcome, Zaheer.
Thank you. Looking forward to it now, Joyda. It's going to be fun having conversation.
Absolutely. Here
we don't want Manish to disturb this anyway.
We don't want Manish to disturb this. I mean, there was a height bar on this. I'm sorry, today. If you're below 6 foot, you weren't allowed in the studio. But anyway, look, first off, reactions about yesterday.
Well, it was an interesting game, and we did touch upon the initial reaction was that. I'm saying interesting because when India was bowling, they were in control of the game. Just the scare was that one partnership which was building between Warner and Steven Smith.
Partnership.
Yeah, but after that, at no point you thought that Australia is going to have a chance in the game. You just thought that India is just going to roll over them with the bat in hand. But wasn't the case. That first spell was very interesting. A lot of up and down movement there. Some seam movement. Didn't look like it was the same pitch which was played in the
first half. Exactly.
Yeah, but the tough phase, the way Virat and KL saw it through was amazing. So it was a special partnership, and I was just saying that these kind of partnerships, they really get the dressing room atmosphere going. Because you suddenly now seen that it was such a tricky situation that Virat's catch was taken. It would have been another load of pressure which would have been applied to the next batter in, which was Hardik. But just to do it in such a style where one partnership completely taking the game away from Australia afterwards, Dew also came in and played a part. But that sends a very strong message and a signal to all the teams. And within your team also, that two guys stepping up can win your game. And that belief is going to go a long way, I feel, in the tournament.
Interesting. Yesterday we just had Nathan Lyon come on and say that, by the way, coach, I am fit. I'm ready to come on. I'm ready to get onto that plane. If you were the Australian team, would you call on him?
Agar or...
No, Nathan Lyon. He's sitting out there. Okay. He says, I'm fit now. I'm willing to bowl. And
looking at the pitch, yes. I mean, yeah. So far in the tournament, we've seen teams bowling first have been bowling on that pitch which has little bit of grip. The things ease out as the match goes on. More often than not, you will see that bowling under lights is not going to be that easy. I think defending totals will not be easy as we go along in the tournament is what my sense is. So most of the teams will prefer to bowl first. The ball has been gripping a little bit, and that's why we were surprised that why Australia actually won the toss and elected to bat first. Had they bowled first, maybe things would have been different. The kind of movement which we saw, India had three spinners, so they would have constantly be back of their mind thinking that okay, how can we get spinners in play? But wasn't the case. But generally, I feel in this tournament now, teams will look to bowl first. Might have that slight advantage. Teams batting first will have that added responsibility of making sure that you go 20-30 runs above par. You can't target par now.
Can't target par.
Yeah, because you have to have that cushion if Dew comes into play, if wicket eases out. We've seen that with England New Zealand game as well. First innings, we thought okay, England still have a chance. 280 around that total is never an easy one. With spinners coming into play, but wasn't the case. Conway and Rachin didn't give anyone any chance. I think that will be the trend of the tournament.
Okay, interesting. We also have news from the middle. Netherlands have won the toss and elected to bat, I believe, which is an interesting decision, but obviously... Sorry, they've elected to bowl. That was wrong. They've elected to bowl. Oh, Zach, you can't get it wrong. You can't get it wrong. How could I have ever thought that you would get it wrong? Netherlands have won the toss, elected to bowl. And there are a couple of changes in the teams which look a bit interesting. Can we have the teams up, please? So that's what Netherlands looking like. Engelbrecht has come in. Ryan Klein has come in. And otherwise, it looks like a fairly set team. Bas de Leede, of course, being their main player out there. Scott Edwards, Bas de Leede, that's the cream of the team. Aryan Dutt, Paul van Beekeren. Interesting. They are missing Rolf de Mer. They're playing more spinners today.
Well, they had 8 bowling options. So I think Captain Scott Edwards is always going to have that luxury of looking at the conditions and then looking to use which resource to be used on that particular day. I think Aryan Dutt will be a crucial factor in today's game also from Netherlands' point of view. I just got a sense in general going forward in the tournament, Netherlands will be a team who will be doing decently well with the ball. I think they will have that control just because of the options which a captain has at his disposal. You can use different bowlers according to the conditions which are on offer. So I think that will be the campaign for Netherlands. Today they won the toss bowling first. They will put any team. They will look to restrict any team for that power and hope that bowlers are having an off day on the opposition and then they get the total. That will be the kind of game plan.
That's their game plan. So if you're Netherlands, you're undermatched. Use a lot of bowlers, hope to get them within 270, 280 and then hope to do it with the bat. Of course, that script almost worked for them in the first match against Pakistan. It's just that their batsmen could not take it through. But interesting that you say that, Netherlands is a team of sort of lots of all-rounders, lots of bits and pieces players.
Yeah.
And everyone gives you a bit. All it depends on who gives you what bit on what particular day. Of course, we have the New Zealand team as well. And interesting change. Take a look at this, Zach, because I think it will be interesting. One change, Jimmy Neesham goes out and Lockie Ferguson comes in.
So I was expecting this, and I was yesterday in the preview trying to mention the fact I'm little curious around how New Zealand is going to approach this game tactically and how their campaign is going to be. Because when you saw they played against England, there were a lot of slow bowlers. So they said, okay, England, they've got a strong batting lineup. They bat till 10. Now, tactically, how can we beat them? It's going to be bat versus bat. So they just packed their playing 11 with a lot of batters. Lockie was not playing that game. I think he was fit and available, but they decided not to play him in that game because they know how England likes fast bowling and they can put any fast bowler under pressure. How do you win the game is the question. And I think that's what New Zealand have been trying to answer. That's how they have selected their squad. And in the tournament, you will see a lot of these tactical changes from New Zealand side. New Zealand have been, in a way, leaders in doing innovative things. They will think out of the box. And I think today, two teams are playing. New Zealand is an established team who has been doing that, and I think Netherlands gives you that feeling, which is the teams which are getting established. They are the New Zealand of those kind of.
I love it. I love the analogy. The New Zealand, the sort of second New Zealand team, and so many of their players are also from there. Logan Van Beek plays out there. So many of their Nadimaru plays out there. So many of their established players have also made it. From Colin Ackerman plays from there. So, that is the kind of lineup that you see, the kind of players that you see coming out here. And I think that's what's interesting, that you have a lineup of almost New Zealand versus New Zealand B side. That means players who could have played for New Zealand had they been good enough, but they had to play for other countries.
And also the approach, I feel. The approach is like that. So, they will try and find, when you look at that lineup, you'll think that, okay, is there any star player there? Is there any really a player who is going to make impact or take the cricketing world by storm? You will not find that. Same is the case with New Zealand, but they are so consistent with their planning. They will think out of the box. They will not hesitate in experimenting with something. New Zealand was the first team who started bowling spinner with the new ball.
Absolutely.
Right? They are the ones who started that, taking advantage of the pinchy, looking to put teams under pressure with the new ball, not letting bowlers settle. So all those kind of thought leadership has in a way, out of the box thinking have been seen from this setup. I think Netherlands will be looking to emulate them with regard to that. So you see Scott using 8 bowling options. So what happens, you are not playing these teams regularly. So the teams which are playing against them, you're not giving them time to settle. A bowler comes in to bowl, you know that, okay, first 1-2 overs, maybe you just take a little bit of time how he looks to bowl, or just adjust his bowling action or align yourself. Before you could settle, he will use another resource. So that's how he went in the first game. So I think that will be the trend. It will be interesting to see how they go on doing about their business in this campaign, because they've been very positive in saying that we are here to win and we want to, our goal is to qualify for the semis.
But also a lovely change, because if you look at it, what is Lockie Ferguson doing? Lockie Ferguson is that 150 plus bowler, where if you 2 or 3 wickets go down, you're an associate side, you're not used to playing bowlers of that kind of pace, are you? So his job is to come in there, burst into that middle order, bit like Harris Rauf, right? In the kind of thread that you see from him. Do you see him taking the new ball, or do you see him coming later?
I think he will be coming one change. Generally, that's the feeling I'm getting. Matt Henry and Trent Bolt is someone who's so good with the new ball, and Matt Henry especially really pleasantly surprised me because in these conditions, Matt Henry, when you think of him, you'll think, okay, he will need some help from the conditions, pitch has to assist, all those kind of things. He's not out and out quick, so he'll be bowling that 134, 135 kind of speed ranges, and doesn't have a lot of variations as well. He's someone who is like a day's bowler, like 3 day, 4 day, come, keep hitting that length and look to just extract a little bit of movement and relies on the pitch help. Here in this tournament so far, in that first match which he's played, he looked a different bowler. He was looking to hit the deck hard. He was not afraid of bowling those bouncers. You saw Livingston also just taking evasive action against him. So that was a surprise for me. And Bolt and him will steady the ship for them with regard to ball in hand, I feel.
Yeah, if you look at those numbers, Matt Henry is their highest wicket taker since that 2019 World Cup. 41 wickets, but most importantly, just look at that economy rate, 4.66. He's been an absolute star for them, and he's been really, really good, and that's what's given them that stability. So moving on from here, we were talking about a lot of other players, but right now, to have, if you're batting out there and you're thinking, your captain, your talisman, Kane Williamson's not there. Well, who do you have as a replacement? Tom Latham, and hasn't he proved to be an absolutely amazing replacement? Let's take a look at his numbers. Some of his numbers have been absolutely fantastic. Look at that record in India, Zach.
He is actually very underrated cricketer and a captain as well. He's been doing phenomenal job with the leadership, and his winning percentage is also phenomenal. He must be one of the top guys. Yeah,
that's amazing. He's the Ravi Shastri of.
He goes on very quietly doing his business, but he's got a feel for the game and understanding. He's very calm, consistent with the bat, plays sweep very well. So I think in subcontinent conditions, to put spinners under pressure, if someone is playing sweep shot very well, you will see good numbers. And I think Tom Latham is another example of that. He's a good sweeper, good rotator of strike. So in that middle phase, he's always consolidating. So that has taken the pressure off the New Zealand setup, and things are looking really nice for them. Maybe the lot of credit has to go to Tom Latham with regard.
Yeah, because this first match was a really important match for them once you win it. Because see, you look at this lineup and you see the number of winnable teams that you play against, and you say that Afghanistan, you can win a few of those. But this is your opportunity. And how does, the interesting thing is, what happens when Kane Williamson comes back? What is the change they do then? Take a look at that team again.
I think the change is going to be right at the top. Will Young will be under pressure getting into this game. He must be aware. All these players, they're always aware of what's happening. They say na mahol, that whole environment around
mahol ban raha hai, dropping ka mahol ban raha hai.
How the think tank is looking at, all those things they sense. So Will Young must be knowing that, and I think today's game for him from that point of view will be adding that little bit of extra pressure. When Kane Williamson is sitting on the bench and he's just itching to get out there, you will have to make way for him. Rachin Ravindra has had a superb innings. He's someone who New Zealand now wouldn't want to think of dropping him. So maybe he will get pushed up the order, and Kane Williamson will fit in at number 3.
So Rachit goes to open instead of Will Young, and then Williamson slots it in 3. You have to. I mean, Williamson's one of the greats of international cricket. Not to play him at 3, it also would be a travesty of justice. But, moving from him to another player who, I believe, I've been looking at auction after auction in the IPL, and I've been wondering why they never take him, Bas de Leede. What's your opinion of him? I mean, amazing cricketer, fantastic in the last 2 years.
Well, good talent which needs game time, experience, confidence, all those kind of things I feel. These opportunities are going to go a long way for him. Because we've seen him in T20 World Cup also. He's someone who impressed everyone, can contribute with the bat, can contribute with the ball, got hit on his head and then came back now. And you see in this World Cup, he was prepared for it. Yes, you know you're playing in subcontinent, maybe you'll have that little bit of extra time to adjust. But having said that, it looked that he has been working on it. He knew that a lot of bowlers will try and do the similar kind of things to him, maybe scare him off, all those sort of things. So he looked that he is ready to take on. And a lot of franchise cricket also he's playing around the world, which is going to help him. So I think this is a good cricketer in making, comes from a cricketing family.
Yeah,
so yeah, as a
Would
kid
you play
also,
against Tim Delete? Ever had a chance to play against Tim Delete?
Of course I did in 2003 World Cup.
Of course, absolutely. You took his wicket, right?
No, he took my wicket.
He took your wicket. I know. But he would have been happy about that. That's one trophy out there in his cupboard. And his son must be looking at it and wondering, yeah, my father got sacked. So no, seriously, these are the kind of cricketers that one of the things I find about associate countries cricketers, and I've been reading a little bit about them, Zach, and it's so fascinating that India says net bowlers, there are about 50 net bowlers. We go to England, we fly in net bowlers. What did the Netherlands do? They actually put on Twitter saying, can we have net bowlers? They had a site and people actually sent in videos and they found 4 net bowlers and they got it. Just how difficult is it when you're a side like that, you're searching for money, you're searching for everything, to be able to compete against top sides like, England or New Zealand or even India?
Well, there are very interesting stories around that. And I think what drives you through these phases is the passion for the game and love for the game. You will find a way, you will not crib about things because you are playing the game for the love of it. That is something which stands out with all these teams. They know that they are on a journey and they have to keep on walking to reach there where they want to get. And from that point of view, these tournaments become very important for them. So when we are looking at it at times, we don't see beyond what's happening in front of our eyes, which is just, say New Zealand playing Netherlands today. So you'll say, okay, New Zealand is going to win, Netherlands doesn't have a chance or anything of that. So until that one setback happens and then everyone takes notice of that. So I think that's what they believe in and that's how it should be. It's about going out there. So when you hear how Netherlands team has been talking about in interviews in media that they're here to win, they got to believe that. And then wait for the day, which we've seen in T20 World Cup also, when they took South Africa down. That time no one had given them chance, but everyone took notice of them that time. So that's how things roll. The challenges are always there, but the passion is something which keeps you driving and keeps you moving.
Yeah, you remember that 2011, that famous victory, of course, against England that we all remember. Ryan Tendushkate was a huge part of it. So they're always looking to make an upset. But associate nations, what do they deserve? Are they underserved? Well, we have a question on Cricbuzz. Ask Cricbuzz. Take a look at this question. Zach, pity that after the World Cup, no nation showed interest in playing against Netherlands. Their only match practice has been against the Karnataka team. Can associate members be inducted into our domestic cricket structure to enhance their experiences? So there are two sides to this. What's your opinion?
Well, if you ask me, the rule of having players playing professionally for any of the domestic teams, there's no restriction on that. So you have that rule of playing maybe 2 professionals, I think, are allowed by per team. Yeah. And county is a structure which is where a lot of the cricketers go and play if the county wants you to come and play for them. So the same rule applies here. So there is no official restriction on that. It just so it happens that you have abundance of talent here and the state teams want to promote their own players who are in the system for a long time. But if anyone wants to induct any of the players, they are open to doing that. We've seen with some teams, with Rajasthan also. I remember Vikram was there, Kabir Ali was there, a few players have played. In the past also, there are a lot of cricketers from outside.
Yeah, Dennis Compton has played. Dennis Compton's played.
Correct.
West Hall has played county cricket. In fact, at one time, was it true that Muralidharan was supposed to come and play for Bengal, I think? Was it?
I think so.
That never happened.
Yeah, because there's no restriction. I think, for viewer, and the question is valid, that why it doesn't happen. Yeah, why it doesn't happen is a separate story. But it's not, no one is stopping because of a rule or something which is restricting them from taking part in the domestic circuit. That's the rule everywhere. If you want to go play in Australia as a professional cricketer, you can go and play there. If you want to go and play in England, South Africa, anywhere. New Zealand also, there are a lot of these English cricketers who go because it's off season. They don't have any cricket there in winters. So they go abroad and look for some club cricket or some state cricket. So those things are already happening. In India, I think
1.4 billion people.
Exactly. We have a lot of players waiting in line, and the associations want to just provide that opportunity for them.
Yeah, well, looking at players like that, if you're talking about somebody like, we've been talking about Bas de Leede, you look at the other side, the other all-rounder who's been absolutely spectacular in the run-up to this tournament has been the one and only Daryl Mitchell. And he's been such an amazing revelation for them. Take a look at his numbers, from in 2023, 652 runs, average of 43, but big one, 350 is 100. So if he gets to a 50, he tries to, 150 plus and 300 plus scores. That means if he crosses a 50, he'll get to 100. 3 times out of 4, he got to 100. So you've been watching him as a cricketer. What have you seen? What do you think of him?
Well, I think he's a very gritty player, I would say. He's got that grit, and that's why the conversion rate. You know when you're set that you don't want to waste that day. You will do everything possible to make sure that you make it count on that day. And those numbers are phenomenal. If you have that kind of a conversion rate, that says a lot about your mental side of things. How you get into that zone of playing long innings. It's a mental thing. It's not a skill based thing. Skill you can only keep on working on, develop it. But to build an innings or to score runs is an art. So that I think Daryl Mitchell has definitely learnt it very nicely. On the days when he is in, he will make it count. He's like that, one of those fidgety guys, isn't it? When he's batting, he will give you that impression. Maybe doesn't have that much of power, but he will find a way. So he has figured his game out, and more than his game, he's constantly thinking about bowlers, and that's how he's looking to just have one up on them.
No, but that's a brilliant thing. That it's a very interesting insight that Zach is giving us, that if a player is not that talented, when he's in a position where conditions are in his favor and he's got 50, he concentrates much harder in making that finish. And perhaps you always need a few players like that on your side, Zach. Right? For all the talented players, you need the gritty players who are going to give it to you on the day and get you across the line.
Yeah, because see, if you're a batter, end of the day, how you're going to be judged is how many runs you're scoring, right? It's not always about technique or whether your elbow is in the right place, whether your head position is right. You got to find a way of scoring runs. So that is something which is very important, and a lot of the times you've seen players get caught up, like in working on one thing. They're just so focused on that they forget how to build an innings or how to score runs, how to have that impact in the game. There are a lot of things which go beyond that. So when you are actually an experienced players and the legends, you will see they're very good with this. They're very good with knowing, okay, who are we playing against? Okay, New Zealand. So who is going to be bowling Trent Bolt? He's going to be bowling those in-swingers with the new ball. Maybe later on, he'll be bowling those cutters or knuckle ball. What kind of plans he has? What is his go-to ball? Lockie, what he will be doing? He'll go fast, full. How can I put him off? Or how can I just make sure that, against certain bowlers, the smart batters, what they do, as Sunny Bhai used to say, how to face the fearsome...
from the other side.
Yeah, from the other side. You just go to the non-striker, and that's the best way of dealing with the best of the bowlers. But you have to just find that way of getting to the other end if you are on strike.
Talking about that batsman, we've talked about one fantastic batsman like Daryl Mitchell. Coming to the other side, somebody like a Devon Conway. Okay, and how do you deal with the player? How difficult is it? You're 26, 27 years old in your country. It's not working. You move to a new country. You're playing first-class cricket. You don't know how you're going to make it. And then look at that record.
Amazing, huh? Amazing story also. From South Africa, he went
South Africa
to New Zealand,
yeah.
and then continued playing there.
Not only continued playing there, sold his house, sold his car, almost as if to say he's burning his bridges. Wapas nahi jana hai. And that's how he did it. And that's just an amazing story. What does it take? And it's not that he's a very young player, that at 22, 23 he made it.
Correct.
This is in his late 20s that he's taken a decision that South Africa, I don't have a future here. How difficult is it in those conditions? How mentally strong do you need to be?
I think it's a great example of showing commitment to the cause. You know that, okay, if I don't do this, or sometimes it's calling also, like you don't know that where you're heading, but you just feel that that's my calling, and like here it's not going to work out, I have to go. But when things actually happen for you, like when things fall into place, that is very satisfying. And I think with him playing here in franchise cricket also has had a great positive impact on his career. That England series, I remember, where he scored a lot of those hundreds.
Yeah.
Really, the cricket world took notice of him. But after that, it just, the way he plays, he's very natural, gifted cricketer. If you see his flow is very natural. Now he's adding on to his game even more. But again, I think with him also, if you see assurance about his game, knowing his areas, he's very square of the wicket player, but puts spinners under pressure with rotating of the strike. Very aggressive in his mindset, I would say. And playing in Chennai conditions is actually helping his game. And Chennai also have been very smart with picking their players. So I think they just saw that he's got the hands to play spin. He will be able to adjust. He covers the swing also very well because of that ability. And those wrists, supple wrists also come into play. That has been his advantage. But just the flow of things is very natural with him every time I see him.
So Devon Conway, I mean, what kind of talent do you have sitting out here in India? All these amazing cricketers. And well, it's time for the time where I have to ask the question. Zach, I've been asking you questions all day. Now it's one for the audience. The joy factor question for today coming up now. Well, after an international match in Bloemfontein in September 2023, that's just about a month back, who joined Kyle Mayers, Aiden Markram and Mehdi Hasan Miraj among current international cricketers? I mean, all these three have done something which this cricketer, another cricketer has done in Bloemfontein in September. Yeah, Zach, I think you have an idea, but I'm not going to discuss it because you've got too many of my questions now.
No.
I'm getting too easy for you.
No, I don't understand your questions. But I've started now going beyond the questions. Like what is behind the question matters to me. And I think I know this one.
I think he knows that one. Okay, just a reminder what's happening out here. The Netherlands have won the toss and decided to bowl. It's New Zealand who's going to bat. Let's have a look at the two 11s coming up for you. And the first 11, that's the one change out there. Lockie Ferguson coming in place of Jimmy Neesham. And two changes, of course, in the other side. The Netherlands side, Engelbrecht and Klein get a game. And now, of course, it's that time of the day. Predictions, Zach.
Well, I think, when you're looking at New Zealand team, you're going just thinking they can get anything. But I'm just giving that much weightage to Netherlands bowlers. I think they've been using their resources well. So I would say 290.
Okay. So I'm going to say 256. Okay. And 278.
Oh, for Manish also.
The one for me, one for Manish. Now, I'll decide which one is
double
mine.
dip. Okay, nice.
Yeah, I'll decide which one is mine depending on the situation. Okay, perfect. So that's what we have. The New Zealand comes into bat. We'll be with you with Combox after 15 overs. And it's been absolutely fantastic having Zach here in the studio. Till then, goodbye.